Yo, Crypto Nation and mining family, what's going on out there? I hope you are all having a happy Xmas. Yo, what's going on, all you awesome people out there? We got Crypto Bedell, what's going on? Java Hava, Grits, Merry Christmas, you filthy animals, and have a Happy New Year's. Ta 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 ta. Uncritical Ugly Sweater Party. Yo. I got me another one of those ugly sweaters. Yo. What's going on, MC? What's going on, Tech Man? What's up, everybody? Hope everybody got what they were looking for. How many of you guys had gotten GPUs for Christmas? I'd like to see, put an FA in the chat if you got a GPU for Christmas. Yo. Kind of like I did. Yo! So, doesn't look like anybody got any GPUs. Oh no, that sucks. They are expensive and they're like a rare metal, like an unobtainium. Yo, that's nice. Bedell won his first Raven solo block. Yeah, that's awesome. 55 mega hash. Only 5.5 days. He was surprised. Yeah. FA to the third power. Nice. Got a bunch of eBay gift cards if that count. It only counts if you went and used that to get GPUs. Yo. Like that could be like your DCA into GPUs. Be like, everybody, I don't know what to get you. GPUs. Everybody's like, that's too expensive. Well, all of you, pull your money together. GPU me. So, as you guys also know, I've been talking about how I want to have 50 GPUs by the end of the year. I failed. It's not going to happen. Want to know why it's not going to happen? Because I got 51 now. I blew right past that number. I have an addiction. And I also overpaid really nicely for a 3080 Founders Edition card. But actually, I'm kind of surprised on the performance on this bad boy. I was thinking that this thing would be just absolutely horrible. Well, not horrible, I should say, but thermal throttling because of the goofy cooler that's on there. But actually, this thing, I with my 3080 Founders Edition, I am just under 100 mega hash on a Founders. It's not thermal throttling or anything like that, but there is a caveat to that. And I've been testing it out on the rig here, and some of the thank you, MC. Yo. But one of the things that I was sitting there talking about with the Founders Editions is that I was like, man, with all that extra airflow being pushed through the card with a second fan, that's going to put it's going to direct heat right onto the GPU right behind it if you've got it in an open air rig. So I've got it on the rig right behind the screen right here. And I had it all the way on to, if you're facing the same way I am, or since you're looking at me, it's all the way to my left, which was right in front of my MSI Supreme X. And that's my other card that gets 100, just under 100 mega hash. Thank you, Anonymous. Yo. But what I started noticing is that after I put the card on the rig, it was mining away for a while. The next day I get up, and I noticed that I was down like at least 10 hash off of the rig. And I'm like, what the heck? So I saw that the MSI Supreme was not happy. So I rebooted the rig, hash rate came back up, and this time I kept an eye on it a little bit. And as I was sitting there keeping an eye on it, I let the living room get a little warm. And as soon as it got warm, I watched a hash rate go from 99.62 and dropped all the way down to 89.89. Like that. I was like, oh my lord. The MSI is not happy. So I turned off the rig, swapped places for it, and now the Founders Edition is sitting in front of my EVGA. And the EVGA one, I want to pull that one apart. I'll be doing that this week, so I'll do a video on me pulling apart my EVGA 3080 here to rethermal paste it. I think there's performance being left on the table, but it seems to be okay with running at a higher temperature. So I wasn't thinking nothing of it. Put the FE rate in front of it. And about, 2 hours later, I go to check up onto the rig. Rig's off. So what I think happened was that with that FE sitting in front of it, the GPU thermal throttle twinkled out for a little bit. As soon as it cooled down, it tried to reinitiate back onto the motherboard, crashed the whole motherboard out, and the motherboard was like hard locked. I had to actually flip the power off. The board was so locked up. So I did it again, just kind of tested it out. I was like, okay. And I'm like, as soon as the Founders Edition got up to temperature, you just watch the EVGA hit 68, 69. I'm like, oh, turn it off, done. So I ended up putting the Founders Edition on the other end of the rig. So now that one single fan is now blowing away from all the rest of the cards, everything seems to be happy now. This was the issue that I was foreseeing with all the Founders Editions, is that if you put it, I don't care what chassis you put this thing into, you better have airflow going right in between the cards so that it directs the fan that's blowing on the card behind it. All that hot air gets resonated out. So this was something that I foresaw it happening, and now that I got to play around with it and test it 100%, it's like I couldn't even imagine what this would be if it was like a full rig of Founders Editions, how much airflow you would have to stop these bad boys from thermal throttling. I've been noticing that people have been talking about, oh yeah, I've got a whole rig of these. One hits like this, and then all the other ones are, mine like shit. And I'm looking at the whole rig rack that they got set up on there, and I'm like, now I want to find somebody that's got a full rig of them, and have them play with a couple of different configurations. So, because like everybody's been sitting there going, well, I got bad performance, let me go ahead and re-thermal pad them and re-thermal paste them, and you get some of the performance back because you got a better compound in there, but you're not getting that full peak potential. So the only way that I think that you'd be able to really do it, in my opinion, is you get some good server fans in there, so you're not going to be quiet with this, and because of how the pass-through is for the cards themselves, you want to blow from the front side of the card. Like, how can I put it? Let me open up this one because it's a little easier to reference it this way. This is the rear of the card, believe it or not, everybody. You would think that where you're plugging all your interface into would be the front of it. No, this is the front of the card. So you want, on the Founders, if you got a Founders Edition rack, you want to blow air channeled in this way, because the second fan will be blowing out, because the front portion of it is a blower, basically. So you don't want to be blowing in this way, because it's going to take all the hot air and also rush it through, which is going to cause the whole card to heat up. But if you blow through this way, now you're going to be taking fresh, cool air, taking the air that comes off of the backside of that card, and you're going to blow that as fast forward as you can. That's why I say you do use delta fans, and you almost want to make them like kind of line up like a corridor. So, like, I bet you even if you made yourself like a ghetto server case out of a Veta airframe, you'd actually get some good performance, where you lay a piece of cardboard right up on top of this so that you kind of block off and air channel this thing. And then you do the same thing right below it, and you're making a wind tunnel down this thing. And if you get the wind tunnel just right, you're gonna sit there and you're gonna pull a major amount of air. Even if you had to, you could sit there and you could put it on this side, but you want the air to blow this way, away from the card, and then you could pull in a vacuum that way too. And that might actually work out a little better now that I'm thinking of how airflow dynamics actually work. Because off the fan, you're going to get a lot of turbulence. So you don't want it to be turbulent going down there. You'd almost want it to be like just pulling so much air past it, nice and smooth. This way, as this back fan is going to be blowing out for the Founders Edition, the heat travels out and then just kind of goes into the wind tunnel. And it just gets pulled out before it can actually hit the second card behind it. That would be my idea for it. I've played around with it whenever I had it on my rack. Whenever I had my shelving unit set up as my mining rack, the problem that I had was I wasn't using Delta fans. I would see it a little performance bump a little bit until the mining room came up to temperature. As soon as I got up to temperature in the mining room, then I watched the performance go all the way, and it was just better to just pull the cardboard off and let it rip. I actually found that putting in front of it my window fans, which are 6,000 CFM on high, would cool the rack down 1,000 times better than the fans that I had on there. But I never ordered up server fans for it to actually fully test that. That would have been an interesting test for me to do if I would have thought about grabbing Delta fans. Doom Miner, you're saying that you've seen pics of some FE rigs and they tilt them at a 45-degree angle. You see, I could see them if they lay the card like this in there. This way the fan will naturally want to blow up and away. I could see that working. That would be about it. Crypto Bedell, that is a good question. I get a lot of people asking me questions on grow tents. Good one. Good topic to actually bring up. Okay, cool. That's what you're talking about. Yeah, I would see that actually making a difference because at least then the front fan, since it's pulling in and then it pulls in and then blows out that way, you'd want this back fan to kind of blow straight up. So yeah, that would work really good. What's going on? Some goblin loser. What up? Hey man, it's okay. You could have fell asleep. That's fine. That's fine. There's always replays on all this good stuff. So yeah, I mean, like everybody, I understand people are spending time with their family. I understand that people are, probably at this time kind of getting into that food coma. Ugh. It's okay to hear deltas. Yeah, I don't have any problems with the deltas, really. Because, God, I've got each one of my server cases has 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, between 6 and 7 Delta fans per server case that I have. So, I don't even put a speed controller on it. I just plug it in, walk away. I don't even care. It's like I would almost rather strip these front panels off and strip the fans off and have them in the server case. Let your Delta fans be on full tilt, and these cards will stay nice and cool without an issue. I mean, I've got 8 RX 580 8 giggers that I stripped the fans off a while ago, I haven't had a single issue with it. Oh my god. Like the rig stopped thermal throttling altogether. I'm not sure how much I'm going to get through this next week, because I'm going to be going on vacation for New Year's. So I'll see what I can get through this week, as far as like cranking out some videos for all of you guys on crypto and hot rods. And I want to do the build with my RX 6600s, but I'm waiting on risers. So depending on when the risers get to me, I'm hoping they get to me before the new year. I'd like to get my rig set up before the end of the year, but I don't think that's going to happen. So I'll probably be doing a rig build the beginning of the year. But there's a few things that I got to do maintenance-wise in the mining room. So I'm planning on, I would like to get to it Monday or Tuesday, and all that good stuff. Now, back to Crypto Bedell's question about the grow tent. Grow tents aren't too bad. I would definitely make sure that you've got plenty of fresh air coming to it. So like I know people, they put the grow tents in their garage, and well, if you've got them in your garage, whatever the temperature of your garage is, the inside of the tent's going to be. So you might have an issue with runaway temperatures and thermal throttling as a direct cause of that. But you've got to kind of do a calculation, because like the grow tents are nice because you can isolate the amount of volume room around the GPUs so that you can control the temperature within that space, and you need less fans to move air. So you get that nice little trade-off on that. Now, the con on that is that, again, you got to make sure you got access to good, clean, fresh air. You don't want to push the air into there. You want to pull it through. You want to take advantage of the Venturi effect, so that basically what that is, it's vacuum, okay? The Venturi effect is anytime that you make high pressure, higher pressure wants to rush into lower pressure. So it's like having two levels of water, and the level of water that's the lowest, the higher water is going to want to sit there and pour into it until they both equalize out. Now, that gives you kind of like this nice new effect that rushing air also is cooler. So that's why like people are like, with their computers are like, oh, I'd rather have neutral air pressure in my computer case. And I'm like, the laws of thermodynamics encourages you to put your computer case into a vacuum. You don't want positive pressure, because again, the positive pressure, yeah, you're getting all that air to go in, but anytime, like cars, with cars, superchargers and turbos, what happens when you compress air? Well, you got another thermal dynamic going on when you compress air. So if I compress air in any way, shape, or form, for every 1 pound of pressure I achieve, I increase the temperature by 3 degrees. It's a 1-to-3 ratio. So pressurizing a grow tent, pressurizing a PC gives you a negative consequence. Yes, you can have all the airflow in the world you want by blowing air into it, but you're going to be slowly warming up that air. So, but on the other side of it, if you take it and you just pull a vacuum, now you're still getting that air rush, you're getting that air movement, but now you're getting cooler air that's going to cool down naturally on top of it. What's going on, Dave Evans? That is a new name. What up? Kyle Rosa, diesels. Yeah. Exactly. Perfect explanation on that, too, is the diesels. Diesel fuel is not ignited by a spark plug. That is something that gasoline engines do, because gasoline engines don't compress the combustion chamber enough to ignite the fuel on its own. They need a little kicker help, a little spark plug. Diesel motors have so much compression that they will ignite the fuel automatically. Same thing whenever like people talk about, oh, my car is dieseling. What they're talking about is that your engine is getting too hot, and you go to turn the car off, and it's just like cluck, 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 cluck until it dies out. That is what they call dieseling on a gasoline engine, because the combustion chamber is so hot that if it squirts a little bit of fuel in there, it's going to ignite it no matter what. So because I'm a master mechanic, there's certain principles that I brought from the mechanic world into my mining operation itself. And some of that was, it's like the laws of thermodynamics. I understand a lot of this stuff. Anonymous is like, diesel, I love mine. Yep. And I got an oldie, too. I've got a 95 F250 with a 7.3 power stroke turbo diesel. 815 foot-pounds of torque. Nice. So, I mean, because like I've got such a good knowledge with cars, a lot of the physical hardware is the same. So, it's like you have your radiator on there. If you're moving enough air, you can take these fans off. I've proven that. I've got GPUs right now that it's like whenever I start cracking these cases, the server cases opening and cleaning them, I'm going to be also pulling the GPUs out, and I'm going to be basically stripping all the fans off of them and putting them back into the server cases. Considering it almost doesn't seem like it even makes a difference on the fin orientations. Yeah, you get a little bit better if the fins are all pointed the right direction in the server cases, but yeah, it's not necessary if you're moving enough air, like I said. The heat's going to get wicked away no matter what. You're going to be a little bit more turbulent in there, so you're not going to have this optimized performance. But at the end of the day, as long as the temperatures are within tolerances, just let it rip. You're not going to notice the difference on there. Anonymous, he's like, I got an A1, A8, and an L1, L3 as well. Nice. It's like Miner Mike could do that at 30 psi. Yeah, I mean, it's like a lot of the car stuff can actually get transposed right into the mining equipment. So, I mean, it's some of the principles that I've taken in. So, but getting back to the grow tent side of it, though, if you're sitting there and you're putting it into grow tents, just remember that for every 1 watt of power used, you're creating 3.41 BTUs. And as you're creating that much BTUs, it's like you got to kind of calculate for every, what is it? Trying to remember right off the top of my head, but I believe you want to have about 400 CFM per 1200 BTUs. So think about it this way: if anybody's used an electric heater, 1,000-watt electric heater, how much room can it heat up? And that's basically what you're doing whenever you've got 1,000 watts running. It's like for me, I'm well over 7,000 watts. These things add up, so you gotta be moving the air. You gotta move a lot of it. So I mean, I don't know how much wattage that you're particularly using, But you can sit there and calculate all that out. You also want to take in account for the ambient air temperature, because that all takes into it too. Ambient air temperature has so many BTUs. You'll have a point where you have full saturation in the air. But what's really nice is if you've got a card that's running at 60C and your air temperature is 95 degrees outside, Fahrenheit, the air temperature outside is still cooler than the card is running. The card's running, at 50C, I think that's somewhere around 130, 140 degrees Fahrenheit. So the air temperature, even at 100 degrees, 120 degrees, is still cooler than the card is. So you can still, as long as you're moving the air, you can't let it stagnate. Any type of air stagnation inside the tent. So what you will find is that you want the airflow to be pulling out from the top, because hot air naturally wants to rise, and that will allow for the cool air to come up behind it, which is really nice. But if it doesn't pull it in the right way, you're going to have like little hot pockets, and you're going to notice that on your cards, like closer to the inlet, everything's nice and cool. All the way on the other side, you're having to pull more power off of it. And sometimes just putting in a small little box fan inside the grow tent just to kind of help circulate some of that airflow, that will actually be more beneficial than putting in a pusher fan into the inlet. Because I see so many people, they put pusher fans on there, and I tell people to just take them and put them as all exit. And then they're like, well, I have hot pockets. And I'm like, just put a box fan in there. Call it a day. And they get better performance on it, and they're using, and nothing is thermal throttling. So, I mean, you kind of got to play around with it. I haven't checked out a grow tent because I've got a whole bedroom. But at the same time, even with a full bedroom setting, I'm still playing with the same fundamentals. So whatever the temperature is outside, is the sun shining on the exterior wall? Because believe it or not, my one wall gets sunlight during the day. So that's going to start having radiating heat energy inside the mining room too. And so I've got to take into account for all of that stuff. So it's more or less trial and error with some of it, for whenever you've got hot pockets. But the rule is 1200 watts or 1200 BTUs, you need 400 CFM of air movement. And then you got to kind of, it's like if you need the mathematical chart for it, because you want to sit there and during the summertime, 115 degrees out, I was exchanging all the air out of that room, give or take around 500 times an hour. I don't have my chart sitting up in front of me, but it's like somewhere around 500 times an hour that I'm exchanging all the air out of there. So the air doesn't have time to sit there and just kind of stagnate out in any way, shape, or form. And that allows for me to just kind of wick the heat out. It doesn't even matter what the temperature is outside. My ASICs were actually a little bit more unhappy about that. More or less, it was my S9 that wasn't happy. But the S9s don't like to see inlet temperatures at around 120 degrees. So 115 to 120 degrees outside, and my S9 would start getting upset. So I'd have to underclock it a little bit to kind of drop the wattage on the thing. And as soon as I drop the wattage down a little bit, perfect. So, it's like instead of pushing it at 16 terahash, I had to drop it back to about 12 and a half terahash, and I was able to mine on the hot days during the summertime. Yeah, I'm not even sure, MC. I never actually calculated it down like that, but I just know that 1 watt is 3.41 BTUs. So, I mean, it's easier to do it on the wattage scale than it is trying to figure it out BTU scales. And then you can sit there and take the BTUs and calculate Fahrenheit on that, and that is how many BTUs it takes to increase 1 gallon of water in 1 hour by 1 degree. There's a calculation on that to transfer it into Fahrenheit, but the way that I calculated my room out for taking in account for the room, temperature, and the amount of wattage that I'm using, I've got 2 6,000 CFM fans in there, and I pulled the room into a nice vacuum. I mean, to a point where the door that I have right in front of me here, I end up taping the door jamb. And as soon as I shut the door, you can feel the door getting pulled into the latch as soon as I let go of the doorknob, and you can hear all the tape get sucked right up to the door, and it just seals up the door really nice. It's like, holy cow. Tech Maze, like, I'm going to bury a 250-foot pipe in the backyard and leach my room heat to the backyard. Actually, no, you don't want to do that. You want to go the other direction. So anytime that you pull air underground, you get the cellar effect. The cellar effect meaning that as the air comes underground, the dirt surrounding it will actually start pulling the heat, and as it goes underground, it'll actually start cooling down the air just a little bit. That's why it's almost better, like if you've got ventilation coming up from underneath the rig straight up, you're usually pulling in a little bit cooler air. So like you're pulling it from a basement going up into a room, pulling it from underneath the house going up. Like I said, heat rises. It's harder to make heat travel down than it is to push it out. And you get a smoother airflow. And like I said, you sit there and you bury that pipe into the ground, pull a vacuum in there, so you're going to get the cellar effect on the pipe itself. Then you're going to get the Venturi effect, so you got two things that are cooling the incoming ambient air temperature down, and then you're exhausting all the heat out. Water loop. And water loops are nice, but they have their own set of issues with them too. Pump failures if they're running all the time. You still have the evaporation coming out of like an open loop, a custom loop system. You're going to have fluid loss through the hoses, through fittings. Even though you're not seeing it drip, but it's still going to leach out just a little bit over time. So you're going to lose a little bit of efficiency over time with all of that stuff too. I do like the water cooling, and then you got immersion mining. Immersion is amazing. I love immersion, but there are other issues with that. The one thing I do, the pros on it is you don't have to worry about heat. You don't got to worry about noise, any of that stuff, right? But now you've got to have infrastructure, you got to have placement for radiators outside and blah, 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 blah. So, I mean, there's more work involved to set up immersion mining, and that would be a better option over just water blocking everything like how Tech Shinji makes some of those really sexy rigs of his that are, custom water blocked and everything like that. They're cool and everything, but it's not feasible to scale up on it. So I kind of pick and choose my battles, and for me, it's either I'm going to just run everything in server cases and have them air cooled and just kind of calculate the mathematics on with the thermal dynamics on it, or you're just going to go immersion mining and just call it a day. Everyone talking about cool hardware stuff, and I'm here wondering if I need to get a new driver since AMD discontinued the support for the R9 390. The only way that you're going to have an issue with the R9 390 is if you're using it to mine, if the miners no longer support it, which a lot of the miners are open source. You just get an older distro that supports the R9390. You're good to go as long as the coin you're looking to mine is still optioned on there. You people, stop. But if you're using it for gaming, there'll be a point where the only thing you're going to be able to do with that is go online with it. The games aren't going to support that. That is such old hardware. I've got it over here just around the corner, but I think it's an R9390 is what Helpful Crypto sent me. Yeah, what is this? Oh, R9290 is the one that Helpful sent me. That I still got to crack open and see what's up with this bad boy. This Chungus thing. With a beefy ass fucking cooler. It's like, damn. Yes, MC. That's exactly why a lot of the mining facilities separate for hot and cold zones. You got your fresh air side, you got your hot air side. You don't want to let the two mix unless it's too cold outside, and then you kind of let them mix, because as much as you want to keep the temperature off this stuff, you got to think of also thermal expansion and thermal contraction. So if I get a GPU that's running hot and I cool it down cold enough to where, the sensors are showing it being subarctic or whatever, and the very core of it is still hot. That hot wants to expand, and the cold is contracting around it. And what will end up happening is you'll have so much pressure in there, you run a high chance of actually cracking the silicon because of the thermal expansion. It's not so much thermal shock, but it's going to be thermal expansion versus thermal contraction until one wins. Even if I were to take a chip, like one of these chips, and you're doing extreme, the LN2 pots. Anytime you hook up an LN2 pot to one of these bad boys, you run a chance on killing your GPU, all in the name of I can overclock it better than anybody else. Every time you see these extreme overclockers, CPUs or GPUs, every time they turn that LN2 pot on and put it subarctic, they are running the risk of damaging the silicon in each one of the devices. And you can sit there and drop them real slowly over time, and you still run a chance. It's not saying that it's gonna happen, but you just run that chance. It's like some of the computers that are in outer space. Space being a perfect vacuum. All the satellites that are up there, guess what? If that satellite ever has to be rebooted, there's actually sequences on how to turn those things back on, because as it turns off, everything's going to freeze. So if you were to sit there and have everything in outer space and you let it turn off and you just turn it back on, oh crap, turn it back on, it probably will die. Just because of that thermal expansion. As it starts to finally energize into those circuitry, something's going to expand, something's not going to be happy when it can't. That's why, like, if they've got to reboot something in outer space, they've got to actually have a rebooting procedure on there so that they can slowly start putting temperature into certain devices to start slowly waking them up. So, I mean, like, being that I'm getting into wintertime here, I've got to be careful and not letting my mining room actually get too cold, because the ASIC chips can break. They're actually the most prone to breaking if they get too cold. You don't want to really let your ASICs mine under 20 degrees Fahrenheit, just because the chips the silicon chips on those things are pretty damn fucking small. Oh, excuse me. I'm glad I can help you make sense of that, MC. MC, I mean not MC, Goblin. That's where you DCA into buying a new card, bro. Yo. You don't go off and buy a card right off the bat. You know, you put like, you know, $10, $20 a week off to the side, and next thing you know, you got enough to buy a whole GPU. I do sell crypto to pay for this stuff. I'm just saying, there's a reason why I don't have Bitcoin. So does anybody got any questions or comments before I hop up off of here? I have to DCA into the rent first. Well, fine. DCA at the end of the month. Whatever you've got at the end of the month that's extra, put it into the GPU fund. You're not. It's like everybody has something that they're wasteful on. Is the way I always look at it. So there's you need to sit there and take a tally of needs and wants, and then you just add up all your expenditures. Oh, I have Starbucks every work day. Well, there's your GPU, bro. You cut out Starbucks, you know, you're talking what, $5 a day then? You know, $25 a week, $100 a month. You know, so you're talking a $600 GPU is 6 months. Just by cutting out Starbucks. That's it. Everybody has these. Everybody wastes money here and there. Everyone does. My waste. I mean, here, I could be drinking water, but no. I got a Snapple apple. You know. Do I really need to have this Snapple apple? No. I could be sitting there. Exactly, Kyle. Cold cut sandwiches from the house. In the morning, I drink Mountain Dew Amps. If I needed some cash, eliminate the Mountain Dew Amps. That's $4 a day. Boom. Almost $5 actually, with taxes and everything. It's like, we'll call it $4.80. You know, or I'll just call it $5. So I mean, even for myself, $5 a day I can save just by not eating any junk food, or not going and getting my amp, not paying for a Snapple. You know, there are tons of things that everybody can do. Hey, you know, it's like you're not going to tell me unless you're already cut down to that point where you come home, you sit down, you don't do nothing, you don't eat lunch, you don't eat breakfast. You're like, man, I cut every corner I could possibly cut. Okay, then you're kind of stuck in a rock and a hard place, and at that point I would say, time to look for a new job. But beyond that, you know, I'm sure there's something in your budget that you can go, yeah, I guess I could sacrifice that for one of these. In MC, it's like, yeah, pretty much. But I don't really look at it as, oh, I'm going to lose money. Because, like, if I'm going to buy crypto, well, it's only Bitcoin that I'm buying. I don't recommend anybody to buy any other shitcoin or anything like that. You buy Bitcoin, you're safe. You buy GPUs, you're safe. I'm just saying. Because, like, even if mining takes a shit tomorrow, I could sit there and sell these off. Make pre-built computers with all of them, and I can recoup every dollar I have. Doomed. Mick Jobs, don't Mick pay. No. Because like you're basically you're paying somebody else to get rich. Pretty much. And they pay you just enough that you have to come back in tomorrow. For sure, Goblin, for sure. But I mean, like, you could sit there and put $10, $20, you know, $100 a month off to the side, and you could slowly save up for this stuff. You know, you're talking $500-$600 for one of these. Not bad. Not the best, but not bad. But yeah, I mean, there's always solutions. It's just a matter of going through with it. You know, it's like, the most successful people took a path not everybody else is taking, because to be successful, if it was easy, everyone would do it. So same thing with releasing capital to get GPUs. You know, it's like, it took me a long time to get where I'm at today. So it's like, I would rather sit there and take my experience of, I know how to hustle. You know, it's like, you always have a hustle for your hustle for your hustle. So, you know, it's like, if you're at home, if you're only working 30 hours a week, you got a cell phone. You can probably make money. You know, you got the most powerful computer that's portable with you, compared to what I had back in the 90s. I didn't have shit back in the 90s, and I was still making money. So there's always ways, depending on where you're at. If you know, fuck, dude, if it snows, grab a shovel, start knocking on doors. Be like, yo, I'll shovel that. I'll make money. No matter what, I always make money. There's always a way to hustle. You know, it's like it's wintertime. You got snow by you. There's no reason that you can't make $1,000 over the weekend. There's no reason for it. None. You've got to be willing to do proof of work. That's what mining is all about. That's what it teaches us, is that your pay is your proof of work. So, I mean, it's like, you want to earn $1,000, you need $1,000 this week? Figure it out. You're not doing something 24/7. If you're only working 30 hours a week, you got a little part-time job, whatever. So you're working 25, 29 hours, 30 hours a week. You got plenty of time to start your own hustle. Right, labor's always needed. If you got a car, Uber. If you got a truck, that's actually an interesting one. If you got a pickup truck, you always have money coming in, because you could sit there and just put like a little Craigslist ad or whatever, a little ad out there going, pickup truck for rent. You know, and you know, you'll move somebody's couch, you'll move their TV for them. You got a hitch on there? Hey, I'll move your trailer, whatever you need. Bring a trailer. Be like, hey, yo, 2 men in a truck, dude. Psh, I'll move your house for you. Exactly, MC. Hustle, baby. There is no reason that nobody in this community cannot make it. It's like, I'll sit there and always kind of put these like little tidbits out there. I mean, heck, if you know how to weld, get yourself a cheap little Harbor Electric, like a Lincoln welder, you know, Lincoln MIG welder. Get a MIG, trust me. Don't get a stick welder. Get a MIG welder, and you can sit there and weld stuff up for people. I know a few people they go wherever, weld up stuff for people. They make good money. And then soon there's going to be a trucker strike here. They're going to be begging people to drive trucks here soon. I wouldn't be surprised if some of my old jobs don't try to call me up and be like, yo, you still got your CDL? And I'll be like, no, I gave that up. Goblin, stop with the negativity, bro. Stop it. It's Christmas. Stop with the negativity. You don't even no. You if you live in a cold area, bro, just grab a shovel. Get sell Coke to Sprite. Oh, that's too funny. It's just kind of figuring out a niche. You don't have to have any experience. I mean, shit, back when I was in high school, it's like during the summertime, I would sit there and ride my bike around the neighborhood, and what I was listening for was a hammering of nails that told me that there was somebody putting shingles on a roof. You don't need to be any experience to be labor. You just go, hey, I can pick up that bundle of shingles and walk up that ladder and give them to you. How much you pay for that? 15, 20 bucks an hour? YOLO. Exactly, Kyle Rosa. Very good point. No one starting over ever has experience. I'm that person that's like, you want experience? Get into the field. You need to know some things about that field? YouTube it. You don't need to go to school. Everything is on YouTube. It's fucking free on YouTube, guys. There is no reason that you can't figure out a hustle. There's something that you're like, oh man, that's really cool. I'd love to do it, but I don't know how to. Google it. Figure it out. If it's something that you want to do, get into it. Some of the best entrepreneurs that I've ever talked to, what they would end up doing was that they would want to get into a field, but instead of going, they have the capital to go into that field and buy a business or make a business, start it up. So instead of going in there blind, not knowing how the industry is ran, a good entrepreneur will go into the field as an employee, even though he doesn't need to go in there as an employee, but he's going to go in there because he's trying to figure out from the inside. I'm going to go get the experience from them, and then once I have the experience, I'm flipping back over, and I'm going to put it into the startup that I'm putting up. Exactly, Rosa. Make mistakes. That's how you learn. If you do something and you do it wrong and it doesn't work, don't be like, oh, I failed, I quit. No. You now know one way not to do it. Try another way. If that fails, got a second way not to do it. That fails, don't do it that way again. Keep plugging at it. Don't just be like, oh, I quit, I can't do it. I'm so stupid. I can't do anything. It's like, no. Your wealthiest people out there that were self-made millionaires, self-made, and I do emphasize self-made millionaires, they failed 1,000 times. It wasn't until 1,001 times that they finally got it. So they now know 1,000 ways not to do it. And they figured out one way to do it properly. That's life. That is absolutely life. Goblin, yeah, to a point like driving is going to be more hands-on than I'm gonna go research it. But if you play video games and you play racing games, you have the basic understanding. You just don't have the feel for it. And yeah, that it takes experience. But until you can get to a point where you can have somebody let you use their car, go get your learner's permit. That'd be step one. Go get your learner's permit. Go study your rules of road book. Go to the DMV. Go get your learner's permit. And then any of your buddies that are around, be like, hey, yo, I got my learner's permit. Can I drive your car? Would you let me drive your car? Come on, please. I want to drive your car. Please let me drive. Oh, yeah. And you'll find that there'll be people that'll let you drive your car. You got your learner's permit. Be like, yeah, I got a beater. It's a hoopty. I don't care if you destroy it. I got insurance on it. Would somebody want you to destroy their car? No. Hey, that's actually a good one. I'm stealing that, Java Hava. The term fail equals first attempt in learning. Fail. That is a perfect anagram. That is an amazing way to put it. Really. So with that being said, guys, it's been a little over an hour, guys, and it's Christmas, and I need to go use the little boy's room. So Anybody got any comments or questions before I hop up out of here, guys? And hope that everybody has a good holiday, to the rest of it. And I hope that everybody has a safe and happy New Year's and all that good stuff if I don't end up seeing you guys for whatever reason. And stay tuned also for crypto and hot rods. I'm going to be doing some videos and stuff like that until I leave for vacation. YOLO. Yeah, no problem, Doom Miner. Yo. So, yeah, I'll be doing some videos. I'm not sure if I'm going to do one tomorrow. Maybe. It depends on what the wife's doing. Otherwise, I'll definitely be dropping a video on Monday. All that good stuff. No problem. Kyle Rosa is like, thank you, Jesus. Everybody spam the FAs in the channel. Spam the FAs. Do it. Do it now. While you're down there typing that in, press that, smash that Lizzie like button. If you're new here, subscribe, hit the bell notification. All that good stuff helps us out with the YouTube algorithm. Because DCA Adventure is rated F for fucking awesome. All right. Well, since everybody's just dropping in those FA bombs, I'm going to cut loose, guys. So, guys, have a happy holiday. Definitely stay tuned to DCA Adventure for whenever Jay Post does his next video, guys. All that good stuff. See Doge Lord and his ass, guys. Definitely check out dogelord.com with all your greatest Doge Lord apparel. Don't delay, buy today. And if you are a coffee fanatic, if you love the roasted bean, you're going to like to check out dogelordcoffee.com. Don't delay, brew today. YOLO. And with that, guys, definitely see you all on the next one. Yo, stay savage. Yeah.